A recording just surfaced that has the internet asking one question. What exactly did Ellen DeGeneres know?
Talked to many other girls, and a lot of things have happened.
That's Virginia Jew, the woman who exposed Jeffrey Epstein's entire operation. The woman who named names. The woman who was silenced before she could finish telling her story. But here's what makes this audio different.
I do not believe he died by...
If Epstein didn't kill himself, then someone is still out there, someone powerful enough to silence a billionaire in a federal prison. And according to court documents, that someone had help from 25 different people in the entertainment industry.
But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But, she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Ellen DeGeneres left the country just as the Epstein files began drawing renewed attention. Her longtime executive producer died under circumstances that many people still question. And now, newly resurfaced audio is bringing old suspicions back into the spotlight. But here's the part hardly anyone is talking about: that a recording tied to an earlier case has started circulating again online, and people are now asking what it really reveals. What's being said, and who it may point toward, has caught a lot of viewers off guard. This isn't being treated like ordinary celebrity gossip anymore. It feels bigger than that. It feels like a pattern of silence, a pattern of sudden exits, a pattern of people who seemed close to speaking out, only to disappear from the conversation. And at the center of it all are two names that keep resurfacing together in places many believe they shouldn't: Ellen DeGeneres and Ghislaine Maxwell. But before we get into those connections, you need to understand how this entire operation allegedly worked. Without that context, the rest of the story won't fully make sense.
She approached you to
Yeah,
work.
she's like, do you need to make any extra money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I'll give you, $200. This is this older guy in Palm Beach. He gets a lot of massages from girls.
That's how it started. Every single time, Ghislaine Maxwell would find vulnerable young women. She'd offer them money. She'd make it sound legitimate. And before they knew what was happening, they were trapped. On July 2nd, 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested by the FBI in New Hampshire after months of keeping a low profile. Prosecutors charged her with helping recruit individuals for Epstein, and in some cases taking part in serious misconduct herself. But here's the thing everyone seems to forget. Maxwell didn't just recruit. She participated. She normalized the abuse. She made these girls think what was happening to them was completely acceptable. Completely acceptable.
She was like this really bright Mary Poppins kind of a figure, and she said, "Oh, you're reading a book on massage therapy." And we started talking. She goes, "Oh, you know what? I know this guy. There's an opportunity, actually. If you want to become a real massage therapist, we can get you trained."
Listen to that description. Mary Poppins, this proper English lady who looked so nice. That was the whole point. Maxwell's accent, her posh upbringing, it gave this veneer of respectability that made victims let their guard down.
Like, no alarm bells went off because it was this proper English lady who just looked so nice.
And this is where it gets deeply disturbing, because once these girls were brought in, getting back out was no longer easy.
Glenn grabbed one foot, I grabbed the other. And she says, "You always want to keep one hand on the body when you're massaging somebody." And then he turns over, and the entire thing changed. They said, "Take off your clothes." I had these little girl undies on, like little hearts on them, I remember. And they were laughing at that because they like that. The younger you look, the better it is.
The younger you look, the better it is. The younger you look, the better it is. Let that sink in. These were not isolated incidents. This was a system, a coordinated, well-oiled machine that took more than just two people to keep running. And that is exactly why this resurfaced audio matters so much. Because Virginia, the woman who forced this entire operation into public view, tried to warn people. She tried to make it clear that Epstein was never acting alone.
A lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on. Hairstylists. I mean, the list goes on. I could keep going on and on and on. Drivers, chauffeurs, butlers, housemaids. It took all of these people turning a blind eye, which they weren't blind to, because we were right there blatantly in front of them.
Did you catch that? Doctors, psychiatrists, dentists, hairstylists. These weren't just random employees. These were professionals with ethical and legal responsibilities to speak up. And according to Virginia, they didn't. But she wasn't only talking about staff. In her voice notes, she pointed to something much darker.
So, Just take a deep breath.
I'm trying. It's just I'm not that type of person. That's why I was so.
That's why I was. So she was sold a human being. Sold like property. And the people buying, according to documents released by the Department of Justice, some of the biggest names in entertainment, politics, and finance. Now, here's where the story takes another turn, because recently filed court documents revealed something that should have dominated headlines, but somehow didn't.
She claims that 25 men, maybe friends, associates of the deceased financier, have been protected under secret settlements, secret deals, and that this information was not revealed to her during her trial. This is on top of what she claims are 4 other individuals, alleged co-conspirators, who were never.
25 secret deals, 25 people who were allegedly protected, and Maxwell is sitting in prison while these people walk free.
If this is true, number one, wow. And who are these people? What is a secret settlement? Can we ever find out? Can the public ever find out?
That raises the question everyone should be asking. Who are these 25 people? Which public figures allegedly secured protection? And why have no names been formally released? Critics and online investigators have tried to connect the dots. They've looked at who changed behavior after Maxwell's arrest, who abruptly stepped back from public life, who shut down shows, who moved overseas, and who seemed to reinvent themselves overnight. And one name keeps resurfacing again and again. Ellen DeGeneres ended her show in 2022, the same period Maxwell's legal troubles were dominating public attention, and the same period Ellen herself was facing serious backlash over allegations about her workplace environment. Coincidence? Some people don't think so. Leaked footage from Maxwell's deposition has also fueled speculation, especially as she was questioned about various people in entertainment. And when pressed on certain claims, this was her response.
Her stories have changed so many times about what happens, when it happens, how it happens, with different versions. And each time she speaks, there's a different version.
What did you make of Ghislaine Maxwell?
You know, it reminded me of nobody taught me how to curtsy and I didn't inhale. There was a lot of this evidence that came out during the trial that suddenly she's like, no, it's fake. I mean, during the trial, they showed her that photo and she said, yeah, that's me, that's my...
Maxwell denied everything, but she also appeared to acknowledge parts of the evidence. She admitted appearing in photographs. She admitted knowing certain people in the orbit of the case. And to critics watching from the outside, the pattern of high-profile figures ending long careers and suddenly relocating abroad began to look less random and more like damage control. They didn't just leave quietly. Mansions were listed, farewells were made, appearances changed. And to many observers, that didn't look like coincidence. It looked like panic.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very
she could
sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow?
But here's the detail that many people say push their suspicions even further. Ellen didn't simply step away from television. She disappeared from that world right after someone very close to her died. Stephen Twitch Boss was more than a familiar face on her show. He was a trusted figure, someone who had stood beside her for years, someone many assumed had seen far more than the public ever did. And according to some online claims, he may have known things that could have damaged powerful reputations.
More tonight about the tragic suicide of Stephen Twitch Boss and the detailed steps he took to hide his plans. TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before his he took an Uber to a motel about a mile away. At the motel, he switched his phone to airplane mode so no one could reach.
He switched his phone to airplane mode. He checked into a motel under his own name. He left a note.
Also now know that Twitch left a note. Details have not been made public, but TMZ reports the note alluded to challenges Twitch had faced in the past.
Officially, the note was said to reference personal struggles, but online forums and leaked message discussions quickly pushed a different theory, one claiming the note hinted at something much bigger. According to those rumors, Twitch may have confided concerns about things he witnessed while working close to Ellen, things involving influential people and disturbing secrets he never expected to encounter. Those claims remain widely debated, but they continue to circulate for a reason. People believe there are gaps in the story.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to make this better, this pain go away, is to end my life. Had any of those attempts happened, I would have missed the best part of.
Tyler Perry's words are a reminder that personal darkness is real and should never be dismissed. But even with that reality in mind, many people still point to the timing of Twitch's death. It came as Ellen was facing some of the worst scrutiny of her career, and as Epstein-related material was once again drawing attention. For critics, that timing remains difficult to ignore, and there's another detail they haven't forgotten. Twitch appeared on Ellen's show during her apology era, standing beside her while she addressed allegations of toxic behavior behind the scenes.
She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be right? You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life.
Walking around afraid for their life on a talk show set. Think about that. And speaking of that set, this is where things get even stranger because fans began noticing visual details they said they couldn't ignore.
Nice. We could have done this here.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I was like, you know what? That's a good way to die. They're not going to let me buy that place. Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
But just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background.
The temple on Epstein's Island and Ellen's show set side by side. The recurring patterns, the colors, the design elements. Coincidence? Supporters of these theories don't think so. They've pointed to repeated symbolism across different clips, arguing that Ellen wasn't even trying to distance herself from certain imagery. And if the set design already seems unsettling to some viewers, what aired next on national television only added more fuel to the fire.
About this facial that you're obsessed with, how many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, and, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these. Some of you, I think many of you know it. And it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen, and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes. The
What are you
serum.
pushing into the skin, Sarah? Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract its
spore from a Korean baby. They laughed about it on national television, and nobody said anything. Now, some people will say this was just a joke about a trendy cosmetic procedure, but when you place it next to other disturbing stories coming out of Hollywood at the time, the laughter starts to feel a lot less harmless. Chris Hansen, yes, the same Chris Hansen known for To Catch a Predator, discussed claims about underground activity in Hollywood tied to children and stem cell harvesting.
And he was a billionaire freakazoid. Yes. And part of his deal, he's in prison in jail up in Canada, waiting, charges all over the globe. But his deal was that he would allegedly impregnate young women in the Bahamas, where he had a huge home, and then have them get abortions and harvest their stem cells of the fetuses to inject in himself as the founder of youth.
Let that sink in. A billionaire impregnating women, forcing abortions, harvesting stem cells, and the claim being made here is that this is tied to a real criminal case involving a man now in prison.
Technology that Peter and I are investing in is called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg. And here's the question Chris Hansen raised, the same question many others have continued asking.
I mean, was Epstein involved in that sort of activity? I don't know.
That's where, and again, we just have to look at what we have and know what we don't yet.
Yeah.
But it's a question.
Yeah,
when you look at the
it's a
context
legitimate
of the jerky
question.
stuff.
Yeah, and when you look at what other billionaire guys have done,
The recently released Epstein files show that he had a documented interest in genetic science and longevity-related research. He funded researchers. He was linked to academic genome projects. He was reportedly fascinated by extending life. And when critics place that alongside the disturbing jokes and rumors circulating around people in his orbit, it creates a picture that many find impossible to ignore. But for a moment, set all of that aside, because the people who matter most in this story are the ones who lived through it. Their accounts deserve to be heard above everything else. Marina Lerda, once publicly known only as minor victim number 1, eventually came forward with her own story.
I think with Jeffrey Epstein, it starts somewhere, but then it ends with either you having sex with him whether you like it or not.
She was 14, and she wasn't alone.
Came to a point when I was, I'd say 16 and a half or 17. He didn't want me anymore. He was just like, you're too old.
He said that?
He's like, you're too old. I don't want you.
16 years old, and allegedly already considered too old by a billionaire predator. Another victim's testimony showed just how desperate the situation had become. She said she was willing to risk death just to escape, willing to swim into the ocean at night rather than endure another day of what was being done to her.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being over and over and over again.
A constant stream over and over again for years, and nobody stopped at it. Now, let's talk about Virginia, the woman many credit with helping bring Epstein's empire crashing down, the woman whose allegations forced Prince Andrew into a settlement. Virginia was reportedly working on a book that could have named everyone she saw during her time inside that world. A book that, if completed, may have exposed the wider network in even greater detail. But before that could happen, she was reportedly hit in a truck incident, and later, just weeks before a major wave of Epstein file attention, Virginia died.
Virginia Giuffre, the most prominent victim of the late convicted Jeffrey Epstein, took her own life on Thursday. This is just weeks after she made headlines for saying that she had days to live after she claimed to have been hit by a bus.
But here's what made that death even more suspicious in the eyes of many observers. Shortly before she died, Virginia shared a message on social media that people still haven't forgotten. The tweet read, "I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form I am suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me for the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted." And then she died, officially ruled a suicide weeks before the files dropped.
A statement given to NBC News was quoted as such from the 41-year-old's family. It says, "It's with utterly broken hearts that we announce that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to suicide after being a lifelong victim of sexual abuse and sex trafficking."
And this is exactly why the resurfaced audio continues to matter. Because according to material linked to the Department of Justice, Epstein and Maxwell didn't just abuse victims, they allegedly kept them under pressure long after the abuse itself. Virginia said she experienced multiple close calls on the road, not just one, multiple cars, multiple incidents. And to many people, that pattern, speaking out, then facing intimidation, then tragedy, feels too familiar to dismiss. Virginia is not the only name people point to. Again and again, whenever someone with first-hand knowledge of the Epstein network seemed close to exposing more, something happened. They were attacked, discredited, silenced, or they vanished from the story entirely. And then there are the emails, messages from the Epstein files that introduced another disturbing layer to the discussion: coded language.
So I don't know what this one means. I'm not sure if you've seen it. This is Jeffrey Epstein sending it to, some are like shrimp. You throw away the head and keep the body. And then Olivier replies, as long as you don't have any hammerhead ones, are like white sharks. And then Jeffrey sends an email the next day, as 2 are Russian. I guess some might refer to them as white sharks. And then Olivier then emails, the King of Saudi has a few white sharks in his Jeddah palace. I totally prefer yours. Sure, I would enjoy the view. And then Jeffrey goes, on my island in the Caribbean with an aquarium full of girls.
An aquarium full of girls on his island. and they're discussing them like they're inventory.
What I make of it is basically he's saying that they'll hook up with ugly girls, that the head doesn't matter so much, that the body's what matter. That's the way I read it, is that's what I think Epstein means by
These code words are not, by themselves, definitive proof of a specific crime. But many investigators and observers argue that they resemble patterns seen in other troubling cases. Words like pizza, ice cream, and grape soda have drawn attention because of how often they appear in strange contexts. And whenever officials are confronted with these patterns, this is often the type of response that follows.
Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry, you're asking her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files which relate to the wacky Pizzagate scam.
You could characterize it however you want. I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So excuse me, your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein released files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing.
Totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria that I can't believe you're even referencing it. Totally made up. Case closed. Nothing to see here. Move along. But the questions remain, and the files keep coming. More names continue surfacing. Meanwhile, Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman convicted in connection with recruiting and enabling abuse, is, according to repeated reports, receiving treatment in prison that many believe is far from ordinary.
It's access to a laptop computer, which is unheard of, to visits where they lock down the camp and no one can leave their bunks while she's having visitors. In fact, she's getting special treatment.
A laptop in prison, private visits, meals delivered to her cell, bottled water while other inmates drink tap water, an umbrella to protect her from the sun during her daily walks.
We've been told from the day she got there, do not discuss her, do not put anything in writing, do not talk about her on the phone, do not make any trouble regarding Ms. Maxwell, or we will move you.
Other inmates are threatened with solitary confinement if they complain about her perks. That's not how prison works for normal people. That's how prison starts to look when someone is believed to hold information powerful people don't want exposed. And despite everything that has already come out, Maxwell still refuses to publicly name names.
Find girls. I didn't really characterize what my job was, which was to find people, adults, professional people, to do the types of jobs that I listed before.
Professional people, adults. That's her story, and she's sticking to it. Even though hundreds of victims have said otherwise, even though documents prove otherwise, even though she's sitting in prison for crimes against minors, the Truth Commission, established in New Mexico, is now building a team to investigate what happened at Epstein's Oro Ranch.
The Truth Commission is set up to bring justice to survivors, to get an official government record around what happened at the ranch. Heartened by the idea that having a full slate of folks working with us through this investigation, we're going to have things to report by the end of the year.
Things to report by the end of the year. Things to report by the end of the year. New names, new evidence, new connections. And as more files continue to surface, the people allegedly tied to Epstein may be running out of places to hide. Ellen is in England. The Epstein files keep drawing attention. Maxwell is in prison with 25 secret names allegedly locked inside her head. And the audio now resurfacing is forcing questions the mainstream media seems reluctant to fully confront. At this point, this story no longer feels like it's about one person. It feels like it's about a system where the same pattern keeps repeating. People speak out, and then they're silenced, discredited, or gone. Files get delayed, evidence vanishes, and the truth gets buried beneath headlines that never fully answer the real questions. Virginia warned people. She said she wasn't suicidal. She said there were evil people who wanted her quiet. And now she's dead. Twitch was close to the room where so much happened. He may have seen more than the public ever knew. And now he's dead too. Ellen left the country, changed her appearance, put her mansion on the market, and appears to have no intention of returning. Maxwell is sitting in a prison cell with a laptop, bottled water, And, if these claims are true, the names of 25 people still walking free. So the question is no longer whether people suspect the connections. The real question is, how long can those connections stay hidden? More files are expected. More names may surface. And if Ghislaine Maxwell ever decides to talk, the entire story could shift overnight. So don't get comfortable thinking this is over, because it isn't. If you want the full breakdown as new evidence emerges, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll be covering every major update the moment it drops. And let me know in the comments, do you think these connections are coincidences, or is something much bigger being hidden? Like this video if you made it to the end. Share it with someone who needs to see this.